Well, today is finally brew day. Today it's been the first time in, goodness, about 4 years since I've homebrewed anything. Today I'm brewing a dark English mild. It's a style that's not particularly popular. Big beers are kind of the thing right now, and milds are exactly the opposite of that. Milds are very low alcohol, about 3.5%. But I find them to be a really nice, flavorful style. I think it's a lot more underappreciated. So, since they're so difficult to find, I've decided to brew one myself. I've got the ingredients here on the table. We've got barley malts, that's torrefied wheat. This is our hops, Kent Golding's hops, a couple ounces of those. Packet of dry yeast. I kind of go the easy way with yeast, especially with something as low gravity as an English mild. I also have to include the Mild Ale book, which is a very interesting read. It talks about the history of mild ale and how they're brewed. Oh, I forgot, turbinado sugar. I'm using turbinado sugar. It's very common for mild ales to use some sort of adjunct as part of the recipe. Today, for the first time, I'm going to be using my cooler conversion to a mash tun. I've got a new Igloo 48 quart cooler, and I've got a bottling bucket spigot set up here. Just had to drill through and get some CPVC adapters, and I have this CPVC manifold. As you can see, it's drilled full of holes at the bottom. That's going to allow it to collect the sweet wort when it's done mashing. So this vessel we're going to use for mashing the grain, and mashing is just a term for basically making oatmeal, barley oatmeal. Let's put the manifold in here. We put the holes down. Okay, we're going to have to put our grain in here in a few. Mashing is where you take the malted barley in its current form, hulls, husks and all. Okay, you can see it's crushed. Along with the other grains, you put them in the mash tun and mix it with water at a very specific temperature and let it rest for about an hour. And that's going to allow enzymes in the malt to convert the starches to sugars. If we come over here to the stove, we'll see I've got my brew pot is full of a few gallons of water. This is going to be, well, it's actually a little too hot. My strike water is too hot. It's up to 171. I need to back that off. This is called the strike water, the water that you add to the mash tun. It needs to be, for my purposes, since I'm using such a small amount of grain, it only needs to be about 164 degrees. The mash water, or the strike water. So when I add the strike water to the mash tun, that brings the temperature right to about 149, which is where I want to be. Okay, I'm using about 1.25 quarts per pound of grain. Okay, so with that, I'm going to stop recording for a few and get the mash tun ready.